Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 Podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sin. Be sure to follow us over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in description below. And if you're enjoying the reviews, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. Podcast character designs done by Demon Artie. Follow her over on Twitter at Artie Demon. You're going to find some amazing artwork, fan art, originals, redesigns, just amazing stuff. So be sure to check her out and give her a like, a follow, and a retweet. Episode 7 of Carmen, Sandiego, and another excellent episode. It's crazy how this cartoon that's supposed to be for kids does spy thriller action better than most spy thriller movies. This could be this episode could be a climax of some like longer spy movie where like it all culminates and the EMP balls and they got to stop it, and it's just great. And just to jump right in, we pick up right where the last episode ended with Shadow Sun and Carmen going to Moscow, Russian collusion. But they're going to Moscow to stop their latest V.I.L.s, trying to get something out of like one of these like data server centers. And my goodness, Carmen looks amazing in everything. KGB Carmen looks amazing. Everything she does, she just looks great. They can put her in a trash bag with sandwich baggy galoshes and she would still look amazing. I love KGB Carmen. She looks great. But it's her and Shadow Sun. They have fake IDs. They break in here. Player faked basically high up military KGB IDs to get into Russia. This kid has got some friggin' skills. But it's a data server and I guess V.I.L.'s already there. You notice how they always seem to get there at the same exact time. It's a TV show, so they got to do that. But it's the operative that's in there is Neil the Eel. What if his specialty didn't rhyme with his name and he had to come up with a funny pun? But this guy's like super slippery. That's like his thing. He just looks gross to me. Just the fact that he's slippery, he's kind of gangly, kind of looks like a weirdo. I don't like this guy. But he breaks in there and he's getting the data for Cerebellum, and we don't know what it is yet, but it must be important because V.I.L. wants it. They run into Shadow Sun, and Shadow Sun's like, I'll go after Neil, you get the data. So she's puts in her USB drive, and then player has to hack the data. And this is a fight that's hard for Shadow Sun because this isn't a normal let me punch you, beat you up kind of fight. This guy's so slippery, he really can't get his hands on him. So he's all slipping out and everything. He doesn't necessarily beat Shadow Sun, he just gets away from him. He can't, he can't win a physical fight, but he can slip away, trip him up, and just get out of there. He escapes through the ventilation shaft, so they both have the data now. We go back to Sandiego, and they're working on building up their HQ. So Zach, Ivy are got hard hats on, they're cutting boards. All the stereotypical things you see in TV shows to know that someone's working on something. You think they would hire, I guess they'd probably try to avoid contractors, but if they're going to do anything cool, they're going to need professional builders. But anyways, they're going through the data and they realize, hey, the Kremlin had a special device that they were going to use to a centralized EMP pulse. So they could highly accurate, and they could deploy it anywhere in the world. And that's a super weapon. You drop one of those over New York City, that would do more damage than any bomb would do. So this is a very evil thing. This is something V.I.L. should have been doing from the beginning. They should be doing these incredibly evil type things, and they could sell to the biggest highest terrorist, hold a city ransom. There's all kinds of things they can do with the technology like this. So they're like, we got to stop them. We can't let them have this thing. Cerebellum's going to be the one working on this, and she has headquarters down in New Zealand. And then we get her edutainment about New Zealand. It's some people really confuse New Zealand and Australia, but they're two completely different countries. And they don't really talk about this, but I actually have a friend from New Zealand, and he doesn't like Australian people, and Australian people do not like him. There's that weird, it's like a rivalry of some kind. It's just funny. And to get his goat, you just bring it up or say things wrong of calling him Australian. It really pisses him off. But it's just funny. We learned that she has a testing facility down there, and this is where you get the really cool spy thriller, spy movie type thing where it's there's a bunch of connected hallways, and each hallway it has to be timed. So once one turns off, you have to move to the next room, then that gets turned off and has to be done in a sequence. If any sequence is done out of order or there's any type of mess up, these electric walls, if they don't end up killing you, shuts down the whole facility. So they can't screw up. So they need precision. And I actually like this part right here because Zach's like, oh, we got a ninja. Why Shadowson can do it? He's like, yeah, hiding in the shadows and like doing that kind of stuff is a lot different than dodging electric barriers. So I like that he's not this, he can't do everything. Sure, if he's going to sneak into someplace, but this is going to take something that takes more dexterity and agility, maybe in his younger days, but this is going to be a job for Carmen. The one good thing is that this facility is connected to one subsection power grid. So if we hack into that, we can control the electricity flow there, and then we can work our way in. They're actually talking about this in a really cool, spy movie kind of way. And like, okay, player can do it. He's like, no, we can't. Everything has to be precise. And if we're from where I'm at to where this is, there could be server lag. Again, talking about stuff that, other shows would just completely forget about. But he's like, not even that little tiny bit of server lag could cause a problem, and it could kill Carmen. So then we need to have someone on site. And, they start talking about Crackle. Remember how he got his mind wiped and he's just living his life as Graham. She calls him Gray. I thought I was going crazy in season 1 because I thought his name was Graham, but she always said Gray. So I'm like, did I mishear? No, she just calls him that. That's like her pet name for him. But so they're like, hey, Graham's a master electrician. He knows he can do these things. If we get him on board, he can figure this out. But Carmen doesn't want to bring him back into this life. Of course she wants to spend time with him and, be with him, but she'd rather him have a happy, normal life away from all this vile stuff and everything, and he can just, be happy. But like, okay, it's the only person we can trust. We can get down there, get him here, but we have to we can't let him know what he's doing. So we got to kind of trick him, which is really funny because it's devious. At the same time, they're doing something good, but she kind of has to hide it. They meet at that same cafe they were supposed to have their date on the last season, and she sits down with them and she kind of, she apologizes. But Graham, he takes it in stride. He's charming. He's flirtatious. I like this relationship. I want them to be together. I want them to be happy. Carmen deserves to be happy, but she has work to do. She apologizes and everything, and then he's like, I had to go to work. And he's like, well, what work do you have? She's like, oh, she works for an orphanage, for, orphan kids and everything. It's really cool because she was an orphan and everything. I like that whole aspect of, that's probably something she would do for real. Like if she had, V.I.L.E defeated, it's something she would actually pursue. And she's like, hey, we're going to be putting on a charity event. We're going to do a ballet. It's at Swan Lake. And since he worked at the Sydney Opera House, he's done all these kinds of things. And she's like, my lighting tech, my electrician, he backed out the last second. Can you please help me? And of course, again, Carmen could ask me anything and I'll do it. And he agrees. And she's gonna charter him a flight and everything and get him out there. He's gonna be controlling. So they go through the whole plan. They're tricking him into thinking that this is some type of ballet. He's gonna be thinking he's controlling the lighting. But in actuality, he's actually controlling those laser doors, but it's completely synced to Swan Lake. And that's awesome. I think that's such a spy movie thing. It's so cool. Graham's doing it all manually, and he has to be, in a sense, he does everything perfectly. It's going to match up just right. Such a cool idea. Such a cool plan. I love this. And then Player's going to be like the in-between, like he's the stage manager guy, and he's going to be feeding him a false video about the ballet, and so he'll be none the wiser. And so okay, they get there, she shows him, this is where you're gonna be working and everything, and of course right across from where that. Here's the thing, how could they have not have seen him? Shouldn't there be some type of security or protocol here? He just gets in there. There should maybe they should have showed them bribe some of the workers, hey, why don't you guys take the day off? But it's not important, but it would have been a nice little extra thing here. Cerebellum's working on this, the EMP pulse thing, and it's ready for testing. How many days have passed? I know Cerebellum's super smart, but how did Carmen and them know this would be the final night, she's going to end up testing it? Or, it just all happens to be just right perfectly. So it's curtain call, start the show. As Graham's starting things up, he thinks he's starting up the lights, but he's actually turning off the cameras, he's unlocking the doors, and you have to relock the doors so the next one gets unlocked. It's really cool. This whole scene is just great. She gets to the room. You know what this room reminds me of? It reminds me of, anyone remember Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1? The VR missions? This looks like the VR room. And, you know, the music starts up. It's the dance of the little swans. And, you know, he's working the sliders. The doors are going, the laser doors are going up and down. And Carmen, she could be a model. She could be a dancer. She could like do all these like very athletic, but also like artistic, beautiful type things. It's like she didn't have to be a thief. She could have just done a million other things and been successful and happy, but she puts her skills and her talents to defeat V.I.L.E. It's kind of sad that not saying it's being wasted, but she could have just done a normal life. But, you know, she's working her way through and she's synchronized with the dancers on screen, and Graham's working. I was actually kind of worried that he was going to screw up, because he has to, as the balances are going back and forth, he has to keep following it just right. And Graham he's a professional. He gets it done. She gets to the other side, but he has to end up doing it again to get her back out. But it's like, wow, what a cool scene. And it actually has, you know, tension. Like, is she going to fail? It's going to trip the alarm. But she gets in there and wipes all the data. So Cerebellum's not going to have any of the prototype information anymore. And you know, why wouldn't she save it in multiple places? Like something like this, you would save it on the server, save it on a USB drive, save it on a removable hard drive, and save it on 3 different cloud servers all across the world. But, you know, whatever. They wipe it clean, so now they have to work their way out. Neil the eel is there, and the whole thing is, oh, there's sheeps in New Zealand. Oh, one of them going to be a black sheep. And we get a pretty okay fight scene here. And, you know, he just slides on his belly. Mario would be jealous how far this guy can slide on his belly. But, you know, he's tripping up Carmen and everything, but she's time crunch, because this ballet is supposed to be going on. She needs to get back out. So Graham doesn't figure out what's going on. She tells player, hey, start it back up again. Raise one of these doors. So when she knocks Neil over there, it raises the laser doors and he can't get out. And she's like, have him hold that. But Graham's like, that's not how the show's supposed to go. What's going on? And there's a glitch in the freaking playback and it's starting to like screw up. And Graham's like, wait a second, is this a video? Like a pre-recorded video? It's like, what's going on? What am I even doing? Like, why would you need a lighting technician for a pre-recorded show? You know, players trying to like make something up, but he's too smart. He just figured it out. He just left. I'm going to find Carmen. I got to know what the hell's going on. But he throws a monkey wrench in the whole operation. Just stay put. Cerebellum's ready to activate do the test run on this EMP pulse, but Neil just left to go fight Carmen. Why didn't he say something? I don't know. Maybe he was on his way to the bathroom or something. He just happened to run into Carmen. Carmen's running through the hallways, and, you know, Graham's outside like, oh, maybe she's in that's where the main, the stage is. I got to talk to Carmen. I got to figure out what's going on. So he's like willfully walking into this villain's headquarters and has no idea. All the Cerebellum deactivates all the doors so Neil can get out, but now all the things are deactivated. Graham just like walks in and he just thinks it's a hallway, like he has no idea. I was so worried that, if they activate these doors, he's gonna like kill himself. They alert the guards. They have the shock sticks. Remember Crackle, when he was Crackle, he used those same exact shock sticks, and they were always worried that we don't want Graham to see anyone from V.I.L.E. We don't want him to, because it could like jog a memory and he could become like bad again, and they don't want that. Especially Carmen is happy for him that he's out of this life and he can just be normal. But, that they run into each other and Carmen's like, Graham, you idiot, just come with me. And he's like, what's going on? This isn't, you don't work for an orphanage, do you? Like, what is all this? She's trying to drag him out. She's like, I'll explain everything to you afterwards. Just follow me. Neil and Cerebellum are like, hey, this is what we're going to do. They actually have a good plan. They're like, Carmen Sandiego's we're going to, if she doesn't give herself up, we're going to just wipe the city with the EMP pulse. Like, what a good idea. Carmen and Graham run into some guards. Carmen starts fighting them, kind of beats them up. And, these normal guards, Carmen's, not struggling. She's doing better. But the one guy has the shock stick, ready to go on her. And then she knocks it out of his hand, but it falls next to Graham. And I'm thinking, this is going to jog his memory. I honestly thought he was going to get shocked. And then that shock would like reawaken his evil tensions. Since he has both these memories, like he has his past life, not his past life, but his previous work with V.I.L.E, where he kind of ended up hating Carmen, but he always still cared about her. Like, you don't just stop loving someone. And he has this life now where he obviously likes her and, wants to date her and stuff. So if those two memories like mashed into each other, how would he be? Like, I would really love to see if that ever plays out, but that'd be pretty cool. But Neil gets a hold of Carmen. He basically has her pinned, and then Graham shocks him. And he has that shock stick, and then the look on Carmen's face like, oh, damn, I hope he didn't remember or it didn't shock something. He just drops the stick. He's like, we gotta get out of here. So nothing happened. And Carmen, look how relieved she looks. I want Carmen to be happy. They start making their way up to the roof. Like, we gotta deactivate this thing before it goes off. Then Cerebellum's over the PA. She's like, Sandiego, give yourself up. And if you don't, I'm going to activate this EMP pulse. You know what that's going to do? Knock out every electronic device in this city. And I'm talking hospitals, people on life support, emergency services. All those people are going to die unless you give yourself up. And then Carmen's like, damn, but that's such an evil thing to do. Thank God V.I.L.E is doing evil things. And Cerebellum doesn't care if all those people die or anything. It doesn't mean anything to her. Thank you for being a villain. Oh, it's so wonderful. Carmen gets worried again. She's like, did you recognize that lady's voice? And he's like, no, but what is she talking about? And she's like, oh, then again, that relieved look again. I like when Carmen's relieved. It's such a pretty smile. She's like, I'm going to need your help. We're going to go knock this thing out. She uses like a grapple hook. He's like, just hold on to me. He's like, well, what do you mean? Shoots up there. They open it up. He's like, hey, I need you to like deactivate this. He's like, whoa. I'm like electrician and I know stage lighting and all that stuff, but this is like in advanced industrial electronics. Like, I don't know that. Why did you think I knew this? And then she's kind of hoping that, since he previously worked on V.I.L.E stuff, that he would kind of remember. So those memories are still there because he opens it up and he's like, oh, I know exactly what to do. And then he pulls out this box and disconnects it. And even Carmen asks him, hey, how did you know that? He's like, it just felt right. Like, I felt like I knew what this was. So they sabotaged it and they're going to get out of there. And of course, she's like, you need to hold on to me so she can do her hang glider. And this right here, this is the whole episode for me. Look at that face. This isn't hold on to me, get her. This is I care about you. I'm enjoying this hug. I love being close to you. She cares about him. Oh man, do I want Carmen to be happy. This is going to be the thumbnail. I absolutely love this scene. She activates her hang glider, but I was thinking to myself, this thing's calibrated to carry Carmen, who is a young woman of physical fitness. So this thing can't carry a lot of weight. It's not going to carry both of them. But they take off, and then Cerebellum's like, you made your choice. She activates it, and since it was sabotaged, it just blows up and breaks. But yeah, she was willing to kill, what do you think? Across this giant city, hospitals, cars crashing into each other, planes falling out of the sky. Thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands of people died because of this. Cerebellum's one evil lady. But it blows up and it doesn't work. And then Carmen's like, we're going down. This hang glider isn't built, to carry the both of us. And then, she's like, just hold on. And they just kind of crash into the ground. And she looks over at Gramps and go, oh God, I hope he's okay. And of course he's fine. And they survived. And they go on that little, it's not a real date, but it's like a sit down. And then Gramps like, so you're like some type of spy or super agent or secret service thing? Like, what's going on? Carmen's like, well, what I do is secret and I do provide a service, so I guess that's right. And I like this question from Graham. He's like, we're the good guys, right? Like, you're not a bad guy, are you? And you just, got me to do some evil thing for you, and that other lady was the actual good guy. But, Carmen gives him that smile, and she's like, yeah, we're the good guys. And he's like, yeah, cool. Like, how cool is that? Like, you helped out a super spy. That's got to be the coolest thing ever. And, they're sitting there, and they actually have the conversation, and she's like, okay, thank you for your services. I'm going to pay you. And he looks at the thing. He's like, hi, you won't see what the price was, but she probably gave him some fat stacks. He's taken care of. She probably paid him like $100,000. And it's all V.I.L.E money anyway, so who gives a crap? So I like this episode. Oh, it's so good. Carmen, thanks for the coffee and everything, and she walks away. And she has that very pleased look about her face. I like it when Carmen smiles and when Carmen's happy because she spends her whole life fighting. Every moment of her life is a fight. It's nice when our heroes can find joy and happiness, and she has that with Graham. When she's with him, you can tell she enjoys being with him. I just absolutely love that. But I'm thinking, and she's like, oh, V.I.L.E didn't see him. They didn't know he worked with me. He didn't, and none of his memories came back. Everything's great. Then they show like surveillance camera footage. I'm like, oh, V.I.L.E did see him. They're going to come and get him. But this show threw me a loop. It's freaking A.C.M.E and it's Chief. And notice how they're not talking to Julia here. I think when Julia said we should try to recruit Carmen, Carmen's not a bad person, I think the Chief still thinks Carmen's a bad guy because she's not in this room. So they're going to be doing ops and stuff without her. I don't know. Julia, Do you really trust them now that they're willing to like go against everything that you showed them and prove that Carmen wasn't a bad guy? Find everything about this guy. So you think A.C.M.E's gonna go and scoop him up and be like, "You were working with this woman," and he's like, "Well, yeah," and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, we work for the no, so they're international, so they don't work for the U.S. government. They basically say we're like the UN, we're the good guys, and you're working with a known criminal who attacked one of our agents." So then is Graham going to turn around and be like, "Carmen lied to me. She said we were the good guys and we were actually the bad guys." See, I love that. My mind is all over the place thinking about where this is going to go because it ended too good for Carmen. And if you're going to write a show, you can't, to keep it going, you can't let your good guys be happy. Like, you got to screw them over somehow. And is this going to screw over her relationship with Graham? I don't want it to happen, like, in my heart, but in my mind, that just keeps the show going. But yeah, what a fun episode. Like I said in the beginning, it could have been the climax to the next 007 film. You know, James Bond has to get to the top of this tower. He has to hack into this EMP pulse. It's going to knock out the power grid. It's great. I absolutely love this episode. Carmen and Graham together, I love this couple because Carmen is witty. She's quick. She always has a joke and a comeback, but Graham is right there with her. He can, jab with her just as fast as she can, and he's confident. He's got a great smile, and he likes her. And what I really like about this relationship was he liked her from the very beginning. When she was little, ugly duckling, Carmen, when she was like, when they were growing up on the island, he always liked her. So that was cool. I always liked the idea that he always had feelings for her and he always cared about her. But I don't know where this is going. As episode 7 is only 10, so 3 more. It's gonna be great. I can't wait to watch.
So you're saying New Zealand really isn't in Australia?
Crimson Saint here. Thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single upload. If you have any tips or story ideas, hit us up on Twitter at C15Podcast, or better yet, join our Discord server, link in the description below.